Star of Bethlehem, Symbolism and Astronomy at the Birth of Jesus Christ over 2,000 years ago. Bended Reality article. One of the classic images of the Christian holiday is that of the three wise men traveling to Bethlehem. Actually, they were not kings, they were very well educated, supposedly astrologers, and coming from the east, traveling to Bethlehem, as that's where they were led by the star. And over them was this brilliant star that they were following, the Star of Bethlehem. And it has its roots in the opening verses of the Gospel of Matthew and Luke. Matthew states, "Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him." So the wise men, or the Magi in the original Greek word, Magi, are often represented as kings, but in context were likely astrologers. According to Matthew, they saw some astronomical event as a foretelling of Christ's birth. And they were right. There's a debate among scholars to the historical accuracy of the event, and Matthew is the only gospel that mentions the Magi, and many scholars feel it's a bit of pious allegory to show that the destiny of Jesus was written in the stars. But if we assume for a moment that Matthew's account is accurate, it raises the question of what exactly the Star of Bethlehem could have been. Although it's referred to as a star, it's clear that it's the one thing it could not have been. On human timescales, stars are fixed and unchanging, and astrology from the time did not focus on the stars themselves. Instead, it focused on an astronomical event, such as the last appearance of a particular star before sunrise, or the conjunctions of stars and planets. Did you see the video before this one? We're having now a Jupiter conjunction. The sun is in between the Earth and Jupiter. And when we have conjunctions like this, planetary alignments, we have gravitational pulls, and yes, there is an increase in seismicity, in earthquakes. And I cite the paper that also has that. And you have a link to that paper. But concerning this star, instead of focusing on astronomical events, such as the last appearance of a particular star before sunrise, a conjunction of stars and planets, one clue is buried in the verse itself, where, quote, "in the east," end quote, could also be interpreted as, quote, "at the rising," end quote. And this could be a heliacal rising of the sun, for example, where a constellation or planet appears in the sky just before sunrise, and, for example, the first appearance of Venus as the morning star. Since Venus was long known to astronomers, its heliacal rising, the sun that is, would not have been special by itself, but it could have been seen as significant if paired with another bright planet such as Jupiter. One idea proposed by Craig Chester is that it could have been the morning of Venus appear at the star Regulus in the constellation of Leo, the lion, followed by a morning conjunction with Jupiter about 9 months later, and this occurred around 2 BC, but Herod likely died 4 BC, meaning it did not occur in the days of Herod. But we're going to go into the prophecy of the star. I'm going to go and see what exactly this star was. Okay, you'll be surprised. Now, another possibility is that the Star of Bethlehem was a comet, and again, it was not, but this is what they're saying here. Bright comets do appear in the sky from time to time, and they have been described as hanging over particular cities or lands, as the Star of Bethlehem is often represented. We know that Halley's Comet was visible in the region 12 BC, and would have been bright enough to be described as a star, but the writers of Matthew would likely have known the difference between a comet and a star, and specifically noted that event as a star. There's also the fact that comets generally seem as bad omens rather than good ones, so it would be unlikely that a comet would mark such an auspicious birth. The third possibility is that it could have been a nova or a supernova. These appear in the sky as new stars and are sometimes brighter than even Venus or Jupiter in the night sky. And this would match the biblical description and might have been interpreted as a good omen. Chinese and Korean astronomers noted the appearance of a nova in 5 BC, which would be around the right time frame, but this nova was not noted by astronomers in other regions, so it was not particularly bright. A true bright nova or supernova, such as the one observed by Tycho Brahe in 1572, would have created a remnant that we could observe even today, and there's no known remnant that can be dated to the time of Jesus. It's possible that there could have been a supernova in the Andromeda Galaxy or the Magellanic Clouds, but there is no astronomical record of such an event. More than anything else, this shows the problem of astrological prophecy. While there is not a single event that stands out as a clear origin to the star of Bethlehem, there are lots of options that kind of fit the fact. It's even true of the Gospel of Matthew itself. Matthew was written around 80 AD, decades after the event it describes, so the astronomical event it mentions would have been interpreted long after the crucifixion, the rise of Christianity. And even if the author of Matthew felt the Star of Bethlehem was accurate history and not pious fiction, we'd likely never know the particular event they had in mind. This was from Chester Craig's Star of Bethlehem, Imprimis, December 22, 1993, and Brian Koberlin, astrophysicist, professor, and author, from Forbes.com. But now we're going to go to the Christian Orthodoxy site, Symbolism in the Star of Bethlehem. I'll leave a link below for you for this. It's a prophecy and also what it was. Now let's remember what happened, for example, in the Exodus, when you had the pillar of light during night and the pillar of smoke during the day, leading the people of Israel when they were roaming the Sinai desert with the Ark of the Covenant. Remember what God said? I will give you, I will be guiding you. And it was a pillar of light during the night, so you could see the night. They could see the light from far away, and during the day was a pillar of smoke, and that again they could see during the day. And that was not a star. That was not a forest fire. That was not an erupting volcano. That was the hand of God doing that. For 40 years. 40 years. Now, the symbolism of the Star of Bethlehem, much has been written, as we said, about the astronomical possibilities of the Christmas star, the Star of Bethlehem, which the three wise men followed from the east, even as astrological signs. But could the Star of Bethlehem be an angel? Remember that we had angels appearing to the shepherds when they came to them, and in the Holy Liturgy of the Orthodox liturgy, there is a passages which is really beautiful concerning the birth of Christ, saying that heaven came down, meaning the kingdom of heaven and the angels. Heaven came down and danced together with humans on the earth. That's like the moving of the Holy Spirit. And the people also were able to smell a beautiful fragrance in the air. And that's what, even Jesus Christ had a beautiful scent. It's written in the New Testament. I think it's one of the Apostle Paul writings. I'm not sure. But he describes Christ as being having a beautiful scent. That's why when we offer incense to God in our church, you should see the video before this one concerning the Christmas Eve Holy Liturgy that we had at St. Sozon. We do with in the Orthodox Church, they offer incense to God quite a few times during the Holy Liturgy. It's also a means of protecting us from the demonic entities because they hate incense. It reminds them of the Holy Spirit. The incense that we light is the symbol of the Holy Spirit. And remember what the high priest Aaron, Moses' brother, did in the desert when the Israeli tribes got sick with, I think it was leprosy. He ran through the tribes offering incense, and that's how he cured them. So, uh, so the shepherds also witnessed the scent of beautiful fragrance in the air. So it could not have been, it could not have been a comet or something like that, or an asteroid, because they would have toxic emissions coming off them. But let's go towards that article where it says about the symbolism of the star and the prophecy. Miracles are unexplainable events at the time of occurrence. For many, miracles are basic beliefs which can bolster or try one's faith. Many such miracles make up a part of the Christmas tradition, and these traditions may mean different things to different people: actual events, miracles, or symbols. For the Christian, one of the great wonders of Christmas is the Star of Bethlehem that appeared around the time of Jesus' birth. The Star of Bethlehem traditionally led the wise men from the east, also known as the Magi, to the site of birth of Jesus. And according to the scriptures, Matthew 2, verse 7 to 10, this star preceded the wise men on their journey until it came and stood over where the young child was. But was this heavenly object, which led the Magi and stood over the place of the Christ child, an astronomical object or a supernatural object, a star or an angel, that is? Prophecy of the star at Bethlehem. The star prophecy of the Old Testament in Numbers 24:17 was used by radical and revolutionary Jews from 70 BC to stir and conform with the foretelling of the Star of Jacob, which was interpreted by some theologians as the coming of the Messiah. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come out of Jacob. A scepter shall rise out of Israel, and batter the brow of Moab, and destroy all the sons of tumult. The Star of Bethlehem has been seen by many Christians as a miraculous symbol of the birth of Jesus, but there are also those who see it as an actual astronomical event, a nova, a comet, or a special conjunction that occurred at the time of the foretold birth. A conclusion about such an event has yet to be reached by most astronomers. The ancients, that is the Greeks, the Romans, and even the Hebrews, believed that astronomical phenomena heralded actual events on Earth, such as the birth of important rulers and heroes. Origen, in the 3rd century AD, argued for a naturalistic explanation of the Star of Bethlehem, and St. John Chrysostom, a century later, viewed the star quite differently as one of many miracles occurring at the birth, when he said, quote, "How then, tell me, did the star point out a spot so confined, just the space of a manger and shed, unless it left that height and came down and stood over the very head of the young child?" And at this the evangelist was hinting when he said, "Lo, the star went before them till he came and stood over where the young child was." End quote. A star as an astronomical object? There have been many theories in modern times about an astronomical or astrological occurrence at the time of the birth of Christ, but many of these conjunctions, novas, comets, pulsars, double eclipses, or supernovas, at the appropriate range of time would not have been sufficiently bright to the naked eye to match the scriptural verses. The star in Eastern Orthodoxy, in Christian Orthodoxy, according to the Christian Orthodox Church and others, the Star of Bethlehem, which led the Magi, was not an astronomical event, but it was rather a supernatural being, an angel. This angel was sent by God to lead the Magi to the Christ child and the world to the dawn of a new light of knowledge, as seen in the Troparion of the Nativity. Your birth, O Christ, our God, dawned the light of knowledge upon the earth, for by your birth those who adored stars were taught by a star to worship you, the Son of Justice, S-U-N, Son of Justice, and to know you, Orient from on high, O Lord, glory to you. Sun, because he's the light of the world. Just like the sun lights up and we have sun and light and we could see. Otherwise, if we didn't have the sun, everything would be in darkness. Yes, so because Jesus Christ is the light of the world, like the sun is the light for the earth. I'll leave links below for you for this. Merry Christmas to all, and God bless you all. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.